Okay. Yeah. Hi, my name is Dailyn Hopkins. I am in 10th grade. I attend Montour High School and I'm a member of the Jack and Jill Pittsburgh Teen Chapter, and I hold the office of historian.
Hello, my name is Torrey Bullock Jr. I'm a ninth grader at Winchester Thurston School, and I'm a member of the Pittsburgh Jack and Jill Teen Group, where I hold the position as chaplain.
Nice
Um,
to meet both of you.
Thank you. Welcome, Miss Amanda Green Hawkins. Thank you for joining us for this interview this evening. We would like for you to start us off by telling us a little bit about your background.
Well, I am a lawyer here in the city of Pittsburgh. I live and work in the city of Pittsburgh. I'll back up for a sec. And I am a lawyer with the Steelworkers Union. I live here in Pittsburgh with my husband and our two children. They are both at Pittsburgh Dilworth in the Pittsburgh Public School System. And I've been a lawyer with the Steelworkers Union for going on 20 years. Before my tenure with the Steelworkers Union, I was a law clerk for a Superior Court judge in New Jersey. And I have extensive background in labor law and issues affecting workers. I'm born and raised in Jersey City, New Jersey, and I moved here for my job with the Steelworkers Union. And I've been here ever since 2002. And I've also served as an elected official during my time here. I served 2 terms on Allegheny County Council. And I also have some other public service where I served on the Port Authority Board. And I also served on the Community Task Force on Police Reform.
Um, what type of superpower would you bring to the table? Like, what's that differentiating factor that you would bring to the table if you were to serve as judge?
Well, many. The our appellate system here in Pennsylvania has one person of color who's a judge out of 31 appellate court judges. And there certainly needs to be diversity. Diversity of race, diversity of age, gender, and all of that are certainly important. And while I can bring some of those diversity factors that we usually typically talk about, I can also bring another factor that's diverse. I am, I have an extensive background in labor law, and no one on that court has an extensive background in the labor law. And I've been working for the past 20 years for the largest industrial union in North America. So it's certainly a perspective that I can bring to the table with the work, because of the work that I've been doing at the administrative agency level around the country, at the state and federal level, and also in our judicial system around the country at the federal and state level. So my superpower, I think, is certainly my experience.
Okay, is there any specific reason why you are choosing now to run?
It's important to always take a look around you and assess what's going on. And many times when we see things that we don't like, we like to look at ways that we can fix them or things that should be done to fix them. And I'm no different. And when I look at our judicial system, which I've just spoken about, and the lack of diversity, and I know that people complain about bias in our judicial system, based on their race and gender and age and economic status and a host of factors. There's an interbranch commission report here in Pennsylvania that reports that people experience bias from some judges. And we had an experience here just last year in Allegheny County where a judge was accused of making racially inflammatory remarks. And last year was a tumultuous time throughout our country with thousands of people in our streets all around the country. People were upset, crying, and understandably so, and asking if justice was accessible. Is it accessible for people who look like us? And so when you have all of this going on, it's important to see where it is that you can fit in and use your skills, what you can bring to help change some things in our society. And for me, the time had to be now. I was compelled. I know that I certainly have the skills to do it. And the election is this year. This is the judicial election cycle. And there's an opening on Commonwealth Court. This is the perfect opportunity to run and try to get in to be a part of the change that we all say we want to see.
How do you
Um,
see yourself? Oh,
did the election of Kamala Harris give you the incentive to run, or was it something else?
No, it did not. And although I certainly, like many people, was so proud to see Kamala Harris running and proud to support her and proud to see someone who looked like me and someone my daughter can look at and say, that's a brown girl like me. It really didn't weigh in my decision to run. I served as an elected official long before Kamala Harris even ran for president. I served on county council here starting in 2008, 2008 through 2015. And I think it's time. I think many women, particularly women of color, are saying it's time that we have a seat at the table. If no one's going to give us a seat at the table, right? Or if no one's going to let us earn a seat at the table, we'll just bring a folding chair.
how do you see yourself in the future paying this world forward and encouraging other Black people and young men and women to run for elected office?
One of the ways that I see myself paying it forward is through mentoring, through developing those relationships with young people. And what it does, it serves two purposes. One, it helps the mentee learn skills and values and develop ideas about how they can go about things for their future. At the same time, it helps the mentor learn about what barriers there may be for young people, particularly young people of color, young people who are from marginalized backgrounds. What are the barriers that they're coming up against? And how is it that I and others can work together to help remove some of those barriers, which is going to be very important in access. And so mentorship, I think, is one of the best ways to do that. Also, making sure I'm staying involved in, and all this is going to be directed towards our youth, because the youth are the future. You're talking about paying it forward. And another way I think is to stay involved with organizations that work with our youth, be it the Boys and Girls Club, be it our parent teachers associations, the adults who are working with you. These are some prime ways to help pay it forward as well, by being examples and also helping to guide our youth.
What do you most wish to accomplish if you were elected? Do you have any specific agenda that you want to move forward?
As a judicial candidate, there is no agenda. I don't run on a platform like legislators do. The people who write our laws can say that they want to enact laws that do this, this, and this. That's not a judicial candidate, because what a judge does is basically interpret the law and tell society what the law is, what the law is about. And so my agenda, if there would be any agenda, is to first and foremost interpret the law, apply the law, and outside of the legal role, the textbook role, for a member of the judiciary. There's also the role of being someone who's in a position to help. So not just applying the law, but how is it that I can best help people? And remembering that this is a job of service. It's really a job of service to the people of Pennsylvania. And that has to be an important consideration as well. Because many times the way that the law handles a problem doesn't really address the root of the problem. So you might answer the question presented in court, but you may not really help address someone's problem. And wherever that can be done, I think society's all the better for it.
Why did you decide to run for a seat on the appellate court?
The appellate court is a court of correction, reviewing decisions from either courts below, or in the case of the Commonwealth Court, reviewing decisions of administrative agencies and making sure that those decisions were made correctly. And throughout my career, I have done appellate work. And while my trial work or my work in hearings has been before administrative agencies and in arbitration hearings where you're preparing evidence and presenting evidence in an adversarial setting, the bulk of my work, even more of my work, has been earlier in the first half of my career doing appellate work. And I have really enjoyed appellate work. So even before my time with the Steelworkers Union, where we're trained appellate attorneys, when I worked with a state court judge, and I also worked with a federal court judge, I was handling appeals or preparing the judges to make decisions on appeals from administrative agencies, appeals regarding government decisions. And when I worked with a union in Washington, D.C., as well as with a law firm in New York City, that work also involved looking at the same types of things with administrative agencies. It's my background, it's what I know.
What ways do you think the system has failed people of color, and how are Black women poised to make a difference?
Oh, the system has failed people of color because of largely, I think, implicit bias. Those beliefs that we have in our minds, conscious or unconscious, that affect what we think of people and how we make decisions concerning people. And it's important that those biases get addressed. And if they don't, decisions will continue to be made based on what someone thinks about someone. We're all supposed to be entitled to due process in our system. But when bias comes into the decision making, people are getting the process that someone believes that they are due because of whatever factor. And that's something that cannot be tolerated, because it then becomes unconstitutional if someone's not getting due process. And I think that the question was, I'm sorry, the second part of the question was how can women of color make a difference? Okay, just wanted to make sure addressing the question. And I think that women and women of color can help make a difference, because throughout our history, there are plenty of instances where women and women of color their voices have been marginalized, their voices have been silenced. And to the extent more and more women and women of color can become part of the judicial system, we can help add a voice and a perspective that has been silenced for a large part of our history. Now that voice can be added to the discussion of what justice and fairness should look like in our system.
What was that aha moment, that exact moment or turning point that made you desire to run for judge?
I think it was, I have to go back even before 2021, this year. I ran for judge in 2019 as well. I ran statewide for Pennsylvania's Superior Court. and I fell short by 3/10 of a point. So it was really close in a statewide race. And my aha moment there was many of the factors that we just talked about with bias, people concerned about bias in our system. Only one person of color, there was then only one person of color in our entire appellate system. And also being a lawyer who has appeared before 3-judge panels around this country and before administrative law judges around this country, and not seeing or appearing before many judges who look like me or anyone I grew up with who had a background in the area of the law that I work in, or backgrounds in other areas of the law, like criminal defense work or neighborhood legal services, or working with the ACLU, all of these perspectives that come from working with marginalized people. And so I thought it was just time. It is time to stand up and get out there and try to do something about this lack of real diversity that I know I would like to see on our courts. And I know many others would as well.
Once again, we thank you for your time. That was a great interview, and we wish you success with the election. So thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Okay, I think that was awesome. Everybody did such a great job. I'm so excited and so appreciative of this opportunity. So, as a kid, thank you so much, and we wish you the best and much success. And this will be shared with the teens as well as the mothers of the organization, and so you'll get a lot of exposure there. So we're very happy. Thank you so much for your time.
No problem. That was rather quick. Wow, it was only 20 minutes.
Yeah, we were shooting between 20 and 30 minutes, and it actually only took 20. So yeah, I was thinking we might go over, but so we're
Oh, perfect. I'm thinking about my superpower. Like, what would be my superpower? Other than my perspective, like what could I do? Like if I could do anything, there's lots of things I wish I could do, right?
right.
Sprinkle like pixie dust and change minds, right?
Right, that's exactly. That would be a great
Power I
superpower.
don't have.
But I'm glad you brought up about bias for the kids. That's so they can understand and put in perspective. So it's a lot of great things for them to learn out of this. So we're just very happy. So
Great. Thank you. Thanks
you
for
so
inviting
much.
me. Glad to participate.
Yeah, so you have a happy Easter. Enjoy your weekend.
You too. Thank you all. Happy Easter.
Okay.
Happy
Bye-bye.
Easter.
Oh, stop. Torrey, good job. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Your mom is going to come in and take a picture of you, like looking at the computer. So we can.
Oh, okay.
So we can keep. I text her that so that we can, keep that as a historian of the chapter. You guys doing what you do. So.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Have a great weekend. Okay.
All right, you too.
How your family?
Okay, see you later.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.